Let's start in New York and get the opinion of Professor Wright Mills on the campus of Columbia University with his students.
When you ask the question, what do you mean by conformity and dissent, you assume that all men tend to be political and that they either conform or that they dissent. Now, neither of those situations is really the case, for some people at least, in the United States today. The situation is a third, namely that they don't care either way, that they neither accept nor reject. So that the problem of conformity versus dissent, I should rephrase and say that it has been displaced in the U.S. scene as well as elsewhere as a problem of apathy, of political indifference, of just not caring. I suppose that this sort of thing is most likely to happen in a society which is doing very well economically, but I don't think that is the only cause of it. In the United States today, there is no broad base of dissent. There is no broad instrumentality that is available for dissent. And hence, the people who are rejecting the current trends of affairs and those in charge of them, they tend to be scattered. They tend to be less groups than grouplets, scattered individuals. And they tend to be, of course, small circulation magazines. As far as the American labor movement is concerned, it is, of course, almost entirely an adaptive organization. It doesn't act, it's simply acted upon, and then it reacts. And it sees politics as simply a means for strictly economic or bread and butter ends. And hence, since there is no party, which is significantly different from any other party, as far as real power is concerned, a struggle for power, which is what you mean by politics, I don't see very much dissent, or what you might call dissent at all. I think it is confined to small groups of intellectuals in and out of universities, and I think even there it tends to dry up very quickly. In a world of Thomas Paine, all it took to speak, and to speak effectively, was a printing press. I don't know what it cost, but it certainly didn't cost what 6 issues of a relatively small circulation magazine would cost today. So that the capital requirements of these means of communication, not only newspapers and magazines, but radio and TV, have now become enormous. And hence, when we speak of freedom to speak, just in that minimum sense of dissent, and any kind of effectiveness, well, you have to speak of capitalism in the sense that it now owns those instrumentalities. And so perhaps the biggest obstacle to intellectuals dissenting, assuming that they wish to, which I don't think many do, would be access to the means of communication. Freedom of speech as a formal fact exists, of course, quite fully in the United States. Nobody locks you up. But on the other hand, nobody has to lock you up because many intellectuals are locking themselves up.